Hey everyone, welcome back. So with the latest highly contagious COVID Omicron variant causing nationwide teachers, support staff, and student shortages, we are once again left with the question of whether schools should remain in person or revert back to remote learning. Joining us today to speak about the state of our children's education is the United Federations of Teachers Director of Staff, Anthony Harmon. Hello and welcome.
Hi, thanks so much for having me today.
Well, thank you for taking the time because I know this is a busy time for you nowadays lately. And I mean, I don't mean to be to say that in a joking manner. It's just, as a mom myself, I'm very curious to have this discussion with you regarding the fact that there's an entirely different system in play.
That it is, a entirely different system in where we were in December to now January, right? Part of that is due to the fact that there's a transition in city government. So we have a new mayor, a new chancellor, who have said that they wanted the schools to remain open. So during this transition, we were able to, as the United Federation of Teachers, to go in and make sure that our teachers are working in safe, environments. Our working conditions are our children's learning conditions. And we wanted to make sure that everyone was safe throughout this process. If schools were to remain open, initially there was conversations that we had that maybe asked that we consider, delaying the opening of school in January and the like. But once the mayor and the chancellor made the decision that schools are going to be open, fully open in January when we return from Christmas break, the conversation shifted to say that if they are going to be open, we need to make sure that these safety parameters are put in place. In December, I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm sorry. No. It's just, I know you're representing the teachers, but you're also, I want to make sure that people understand that that you also serve the school and the children and the parents and representing and speaking on our behalf, because really we're all in this together, right?
Absolutely.
And before we got on camera, we discussed three different things that I want to make sure our viewers are aware of, and how they can also participate and be proactive in loaning their voices to the movement of basically being a voice for the children.
Absolutely. So just a couple of quick things, so one of the things that we're able to advocate when we open back up in January is that that they needed to increase the number of people that are tested in the schools. So every week, there's testing in the school. In December, under the old city administration, they only tested 10% of the student population. We told them that they had to increase that number. So now 20% of those students are being tested in any given school a week. One of the things where I think parents can get involved and help is that if we are sending their children to school, make sure that they sign the consent forms to have their children tested. It's real important because if the testing company comes in to test and 70% of the kids don't have consent forms, they're not testing all of those kids. So we need parents to understand how important it is that they sign the consent form to have the children tested. So that was the first thing that we were able to advocate. The second piece was that if we want the schools open, that they needed to have the appropriate masks available inside the schools. The KN95s or the N95 masks, that they needed to be available inside our school system. And the third thing was that we wanted to have these rapid tests available to kids. So if there's a potential or possible exposure, that the test could be distributed to the kids to take home, and that the parents could administer the exams. And if there's a positive case, then they will quarantine their child, right? So those were some of the things that we were kind of negotiated and put into place so that they are going to open up these schools. This is what needs to happen.
And so, which is good. I mean, I've already experienced it. I'm just curious to know, this is probably not your area of expertise, but this whole initiative of if somebody tests positive within the school and somebody might have been exposed to it, but might not, or protected because they have masks, and then they get sent home with the test kit, and if they test negative, they get to go back in school. So it's kind of how do we move forward with this being a factor? I want to say, being a mom from a public school, there's no what do you call, protective shields on the desk. I know that you've also implemented a petition to just make the class sizes smaller, meaning the amount of students within each class. So I guess really what I'm trying to ask is like, if anyone is watching right now, how can they become proactive in moving this forward with the reality of knowing that this thing is here and we're still dealing with it?
Absolutely. And I'm so glad that you brought up the issue of smaller class sizes, because we sent out, when we did a petition towards the ending of the 2021 school year, where we were asking parents and community groups and representatives from our clergy and faith-based institutions to sign a petition to say that we need to lower class sizes. In New York City, our class sizes average anywhere from 28 to 36 kids in a classroom, right? Which is already overcrowded. Just imagine if there's an outbreak in a particular classroom, you have 36 kids that are potentially exposed. And if we had smaller class sizes, right, maybe it's 18, I mean, well, we can kind of limit the number of kids or limit the number of people that might be potentially exposed to the virus. So the petition went out and we had thousands upon thousands of people to sign it. However, the previous administration, the chair of the speaker for the city council, didn't bring it for a vote. There's a new chair now, and I'm going with my hopes and not my fears that this new speaker, Adrienne Adams, that she takes this, up, as a real issue and work to get these class sizes lowered in New York City. I think the last time that these class sizes were lowered or even discussed was, during the time of the tuberculosis pandemic. And now we have another pandemic, and we're still putting 36 kids. And in some places, if you're in a music or an art class, it's 50 kids in a particular classroom. That's a lot of people in one room in the middle of this pandemic. So it's another thing, another way that the community and our parents can get involved. The petition is on our website, www.uft.org. They can go onto our website, they can sign a petition, and the more people that we have there, the more numbers, the more pressure that we can apply, to the city council to take this issue up. There are a lot more new city council members, that have kind of pledged that they would support an initiative like lowering class sizes. So I think now is the time to get involved and to do something. So we could, if people want to get involved, I mean, and these are like, a simple ask, going on to the UFT website and signing that petition to get the class sizes lowered. The other piece is I'm strongly encouraging parents, please sign the consent forms for your children. And the third thing is like, please, let's get our kids vaccinated. We all know that vaccinations are not 100% effective, so we all heard that. However, we are following the science, and we're seeing that, kids and people that are vaccinated and boosted, the effects of the virus are less critical if the person is not vaccinated. I hope I said that right.
Yeah, no, but I mean, I think, the idea is that, yes, it is. It has a lesser impact, right? I mean,
Right.
yeah, the symptoms are not as critical, we'll say, right? And what the specialist prior to this segment was sharing with us. And so, but the point is that we need to operate as a community, and we're so grateful to you for the work that you do, and your interest in preserving the next generation and making sure that our kids are learning in a safe environment, and a healthy environment, at that. And so before we go, I do want to just mention, because I think it's important that our viewers understand that at this particular time, it's crucial to sign this petition because the funds are there to do it. And that's also a factor.
And the funds are there. The federal government has put more money into education, so the funds are there. It only requires the will of the people. The funds are there, so there's no reason why we can't do this right now.
Right, exactly. And on top of that, it also falls into the category of it being an equity issue because, they learn better in smaller classrooms.
Right, exactly. And I also feel that there's nothing replaced in-person instruction, right? Well, and while I understand and I respect people's rights and opinions, that I want to keep my child home, I want to make, I respect all of that. I will say that as a teacher, and I taught for almost 20 years in a high school in Manhattan prior to joining the staff at the union, nothing replaces in-person instruction.
Yeah.
That human contact, nothing replaces that.
Right, exactly. Social growth is also part of their development. Thank you so much for being here with us. Director of Staff of United Federations of Teachers, Anthony Harmon. You guys, for more information on safety updates as schools remain open, please visit uft.org. And to sign the petition for smaller classroom sizes, please visit uft.org/ourkidsneed. All right, we have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll learn about personal empowerment through home healing. Don't go anywhere.